Okay, so now we're going to look at positioning options for CS or for HTML objects. So there are a couple different options. We have static, relative, fixed, absolute, and sticky. So static basically means this. So it's positioned according to its normal flow in the page, which is the default, and not impacted by top, right, bottom, or left properties. So if you define a CSS ID or class or whatever, and you define top, right, bottom, and left properties, rather than set the positioning to static, then it actually won't honor those top, right, bottom, or left properties. Relative adjusts the position based on the top, right, bottom, and left properties relative to its normal or static position on the page. Fixed basically means it just stays in the same location even if the page moves or scrolls. Absolute is positioned relative to the nearest position ancestor on the page. And then lastly, sticky is positioned relative until a given offset is reached, and then it acts as sticky, or basically stays in place. Or sorry, as fixed. So basically sticky is a combination of relative and fixed. Okay, so let's look at a few examples of these. All right, so this first one here is showing static. So let's open that example. Okay, so this one is set up. Actually, let me make sure it seems weird. No, it is right. Okay, so we've got a static position for the brown, this div here, the first div, which is the brown one. And then the second div, which is this blue color, is actually set to fixed. So first off, let me just set this to back to static. Okay, so we'll start off here. So this would be kind of the normal flow in the page. Everything is positioned by either is default position, which is static. So basically we have a paragraph, and then we have a div, and then that div holds a paragraph, another div, and then underneath of that, another paragraph. So that would be the normal positioning. So let's play around with this blue, the second div here that's blue. So I'm going to change its position to absolute. Okay, so now you can see that this thing is moved up to the upper left corner of the page. And that's because the top, oops, actually there's a mistake there. This should have a P in it. So the top and the left positions are being honored, right? When we had it set to static, it was actually ignoring those. So basically it's positioning it at the top left corner, so 0 top, 0 left. And it still moves if we move the page there. Okay, so that's an example. Let's look at relative. So relative is going to change it relative to its static position, right? So right now it's 0, 0, so we haven't actually moved it. So I'm going to change this left to, I will do 50 pixels, and we'll just remove the top for now. Okay, so you can see that kicked it over by 50 pixels. So now it's 50 pixels further left than it would be relative to its static position, right? All right, so that's that. Let's see, what did we not do? I think that was, you go back to the slide here. Sticky's hard to demonstrate with this because of the way it scrolls. I guess we didn't do fixed, right? So fixed is basically it's not going to move with the rest of the page. So you can see there, it stays in place. So if we did something like top 0 pixels, oops, and then we'll do left 0 pixels. So that's now up at the top, and everything moves around it. But it stays in a fixed position. This next few slides kind of demonstrate some of these. So this is your standard static, right? So everything's in its normal flow of the page. This is where we've set the blue div here to absolute and position at the top of the page. Here we moved it relative to its default or static position, 50 pixels over. And then I didn't show it here, but then we also did fixed where it doesn't move. It just stays in a fixed position.